Welcome to Season 3 of Boundless, where we give a voice to the Good Shepherd Rehabilitation patients and their families. Our guests are sharing their remarkable stories of how they triumphed over illness, injury, and disability through the arduous but life-changing process of rehabilitation. Today, we have Scott Nocek joining us. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, Scott, you are a paramedic. You're also a firefighter. So you have a lot going on. You're using your body for different things throughout your job, and all of a sudden you come up with an injury. So tell us about what happened to your shoulder.
We were working a house fire in Lower Saucon, and probably about an hour into the call, I was walking back to the truck, and unfortunately one of the hoses must have been opened and closed quickly, and it caused the hose to jump up as I was stepping over at the same time, so poor timing. As I reached out to brace myself, I felt the pop in my arm and end up on the ground, and then I thought I broke it, but it felt pretty stable, and then I knew it was dislocated just from like other calls I've had in the past, and I tried to put it back in, it didn't go back in. So,
Oh no.
Yep, I got transported to the hospital, and they had to put me to sleep to put it back in.
Wow. So it ended up being a torn rotator cuff, correct?
Yep, and I labor in 2 spots.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go into surgery, you have this fixed, you come out. What's your arm feel like after that?
Painful. Nerve block worked good for the first couple of days, and then the pain set in for a little bit, but otherwise it wasn't terrible, but until we got the PT.
Yeah. Scott, what did that look like in terms of work?
I had no work. Obviously, as a paramedic and a firefighter, it's physically demanding itself. Lifting, moving, not in the normal gym ways, and so there was no work whatsoever for 9 months.
Wow, 9 months being out of work. Okay,
Yeah.
So you have this injury. You realize, okay, I'm going to need some rehabilitation.
Yes.
What's that journey look like?
Probably about 4 weeks after surgery, I got scheduled to go to PT. We went to one place prior to Good Shepherd, and they gave me a list of other names, and I picked Good Shepherd out of all of them because of transporting patients there in the past. It's always been a nice and good outcome from what I've heard from other people. So I automatically picked that and got set up with the Good Shepherd rehab on Elizabeth Ave.
So they had a good reputation. So you're like, you know what, I'm going to
Yes.
bypass those other places. Take me right to Good Shepherd. What was your initial reaction when you walked in the door at Good Shepherd, and what was your experience like?
It was homey. It wasn't like a big corporate. It was very small knit and more personable between the physical therapist and myself.
Okay, and so what did physical therapy look like for you when you had the torn rotator cuff? What did you have to do to get your range of motion back?
We had a lot, starting off with literally 1 pound weights. I had negative range of motion, negative 8 degrees in my left arm, and we worked all the way up to about 92 once I finished. But it was a lot of painful exercises, which in the long run was a benefit. And I didn't think I was going to get there, and just small gains every day that you go there, and every 6 weeks I got checked in with a surgeon, and then we changed up some of the surgeon's request, and we kind of worked everything together, and with Tim's routine as well.
All right, so tell us about Tim. This is a physical therapist you've become pretty close with at Good Shepherd.
Yeah, I was usually for an hour sessions, and then Tim came up with probably initially 8 different exercises to try and do using random things like canes, bands, small weights, the blow-up balls on the table just to help with range of motion. And as time went on, I started asking about doing things like job related for range of motion, and then we started fine-tuning some stuff from there.
Sure, which seems really unique for Good Shepherd. They're taking in your experience and what you need to do for your own career path.
Yes.
And they incorporate that into the physical therapy. So you being a paramedic, you being a firefighter, as we said, it can be really physically demanding. What were some of the ways that they came up with to get you back in shape to enter back into your job?
The cable machine was huge. We did different pulls to simulate for firefighting, like using hooks to pull ceilings, the long bars to simulate moving patients. Again, the long bar with stair steppers to simulate going down and up steps. He had me doing CPR and pads just to get the motion done and to get the see how my shoulder was going to hold up to it. And the little things that we did that I didn't think was going to be huge actually helped out throughout the whole process.
Sure. So how long have you been a paramedic?
Since August 2009. So
Okay.
been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. So when you were out of commission with your arm, were you kind of thinking like, what am I going to do now?
This was probably the worst injury I could probably have as a paramedic because it could be a field-ending injury depending on the outcome of it. But between the surgeon and the PT itself, I actually had pretty good confidence going back into it, and just took one day at a time. So it was just, I worked hard to get back to where I was at, and I put extra time into it. They allowed me to stay a half an hour later, 45 minutes later, to get the job description workouts into it. And I was there at one point in time, 2 hours a day, just getting the stuff done. So.
Wow. Did you ever think you'd be able to have the same range of motion that you have now?
No.
And what's your range of motion like now?
It's pretty good. The biggest thing is like reaching down like to my shoulders for like doing like back squats, stuff like that. That's the biggest limitation I see now. But every day I'm working on that to get better.
Sure.
So,
And how long has it been?
May 9th was the surgery. March 27th was the injury of 2025.
Okay.
So
So
a
we're
little
just
over a
about a
year.
year in, a little over a year.
Yeah.
And you're feeling good.
Yeah.
Wonderful. What's your experience been like at Good Shepherd when it comes to not only the actual exercises that you're doing to get you back into the job force or, back into your routine of life, but when it comes to supporting you, not just physically, but mentally and helping you through this process?
It was great. The office staff was fantastic with scheduling. Working around, like I had to drop the kids off at daycare or something on those lines. So scheduling, getting in for the days I wanted to get in for, especially going 3 days a week, and the time frames I was looking at, they're great. They worked together. If Tim wasn't there, the other physical therapists that were there were fantastic as well. So it was just overall a great experience.
Scott, how important was it for you to bounce back into work after the injury?
Very important.
And why is that?
Between me and my wife, I don't think we wouldn't be able to survive on one income. So, and I've been doing this so long, it's definitely something that to start over again would have been harder. I mean, I was up for it if I needed to, but I want to go back to what I was doing.
Great. And what can you do now that you couldn't do even just a couple of months ago?
Just lifting and moving with my arm, carrying my kids, things like that. Just that was huge. Everything was right-sided for a while. Being left-handed was a little difficult, but it was definitely nice to be able to start picking the kids up and holding them longer with my left.
Absolutely. Back to family life, routine family life. I'm sure your wife was happy too.
Oh yes,
You can help out with the kids again, right?
Yes. So
Well,
the
that's
first
wonderful.
6 weeks after surgery was definitely a big strain on her, which I appreciate that what she was able to do. So, but.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like to share about your experience with Good Shepherd Rehabilitation and the process? What's your outlook looking like from here?
I recommend Good Shepherd to anybody else, hands down, especially Elizabeth Ave. That's what I had experience with. They're great to work with, and Tim, like I said, Tim was very working and molding my PT to what my job was, and getting me back to where I need to be for getting back to work.
Absolutely. Do you have far to go, or are you almost to the finish line for where you'd like to be in your rehabilitation journey?
I probably give myself till May of next year to see where I'm at with that. I have a couple goals I want to hit for lifting and moving, and I'm about 200 pounds away from that. So
Wonderful.
We'll see.
Great. And since then, you're back to work?
Yep, January or December 28th, I went back to work full time. So, and I went back to my 16-hour shifts. So we were excited to see how the shoulder's going to hold up for that. And the first week was a little sore. After that, kind of just jumped back into it.
Great. But you're jumping back in,
Yeah.
you're doing what you got to do, and
Yes.
you're back to picking up the kids. Well,
Yes.
Scott, we thank you so much for sharing your story. I wish you best of luck in your career and with your family life. Of course, happy healing with your shoulder as well. Hopefully it continues to heal nicely with the help of Good Shepherd Rehabilitation. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And that's it for Boundless, a podcast sharing stories of recovery from the patients and families from Good Shepherd Rehabilitation. You can check out the other episodes of Boundless on Good Shepherd Rehabilitation's website. Make sure you listen and watch those as well. I'm Brittany Sweeney. That'll do it for today. Take care.